I'll tell you what else might be done for the day, Ron, is the KeyBank Air Show. We've just been told that they are going to reevaluate at about 3:15 as to whether they can get this air show to continue and get the rest of some of the wonderful participants up in the air. Meantime, everybody's grounded around here, and take a look at the excitement along the shore. This is one of the beer gardens for spectators to enjoy. Well, there's a couple of guys that seem to be enjoying, but that's about it. I'm telling you, this is like I said, this is an ugly day for March, let alone for the first week in August, which is normally just such a terrific time of the year. But sometimes these things happen, and we're going to continue boat racing and hopefully be done with the controversy today. We'll see how all that pans out as well as we continue on here from the shores of Lake Washington. This is the Texaco Cup 1995 right here on Channel 7. Hope you're enjoying it from home. We'll come back and have more for you in just a couple minutes. Stand by. Home, but we're coming to you live from Stan Sayers Pits, the shores of Lake Washington. And I know I'm not the first to use this today, but I'm going to use it anyway. It is the pits down here. It is just an ugly day. Doesn't seem to be slowing the crews down, however, as you can see through our rain-splattered camera lens. They're continuing their work on the Budweiser and the rest of the boats, in fact, getting ready for heats 3A and 3B. Now, everything was moved back about 15-20 minutes or so because of the rerun of Heat 2B. The Budweiser won that, picking up the 400 points for the win. Rest of the crews, as we said, continuing on, working on the boats, getting them ready. Now let's talk about some of the other seafair activities aside from the rain here today and the boat races. Of course, community fun, the torchlight parade, the air show. But one of the most popular members of Seafair's royalty is Miss Seafair. And last Tuesday night,
the charismatic drivers, Bill Muncy, Rush Slay, and Mira Slovak. Slovak seen here in Bill Boeing Jr.'s Miss Wahoo. Slovak took an overall second place in the 1957 Apple Cup. Now, racing oftentimes extended into the late afternoon, or in this case, right near darkness when Maverick emerged victorious. This vignette was brought to you by the Hydroplane and Raceboat Museum. Why not inquire about joining now? The 1950s brought out driving skill as a factor like no other boat racing era before. Here during the 1959 Gold Cup on Lake Washington, Norm Evans drives the Miss Spokane and exerts some muscle, forcing Bill Muncy wide in the third Miss Thriftway. The battle continued up the backstretch, but by the time the pair reached the north turn for the second time around, Muncy had just enough of a lead to hold Evans tight to the exit pin. Looks like a bit too close. Turns out, Miss Spokane destroys the buoy. This hydroplane racing historical vignette was brought to you by
Pizza Time XI, that's Nate Brown in 3, KISW Miss Rock in 4, Computers and Applications in lane 5, and on the outside, Appy and Renegade. And for the call of Heat 3A, here's Mike Fitzsimmons.
Thank you, Steve. And Heat 3A of the Texaco Cup is brought to you by Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. Drivers wanted. Seafair thanks Johnson & Johnson for their participation in Heat 3A. And let me tell you something, given the close proximity the boats will be racing and the lousy visibility, Johnson & Johnson Band-Aids may be needed before this one is over. Could very well be. Okay, on the inside lane, Mark Tate has got a chance now to do a little bit of scoring at the expense of Chip Hanauer if he drives well in Steve Woomer's Smokin' Joe's. The Camel-powered Smokin' Joe's won a heat already and was third in a heat, trailing points just by a shy margin behind the Miss Budweiser. And it's the Bud who will be in lane number 2. Chip Hanauer, I think, has gotten over his disappointment over the Heat 2B restart situation, has gotten back to concentrating on boat racing. Bernie Little and Chip Hanauer so far having a good day, having won 3 heats but only been scored for 2 of them at the present time. Driver Nate Brown in the Pizza Time Miss X-Side is looking really good. He's in a good position as well. Bill Worcester, the owner, he had a second place in 2A. 1A rather, and 2A he was the winner. He's up on points and looking strong as well. And then it's the Miss Rock, Mark Evans, got himself an advantage in points as a result of the situation that occurred in the restart of Heat 2B, and he came up the ladder just another notch in Fred Leland's KISW Miss Rock. He has a win, and as you can see, second and a third rather, and is strong in the points. The computers and applications, Ken Muscatel, his driving suit presumably dried off now, is ready to go. He had a fourth and a fourth in 1A and 2A respectively, and he needs some points if he's going to make it to the final heat without going the route of the provisional. Tom Hindley will be the driver of the Appian Renegade, and this is his first frontline start on Lake Washington today. He's been a trailer up until the attrition took the Elam out of the race. Bob Fendler, the owner, the boat out of Spokane, and he did not start in his first heat and a seventh in his second heat. So here's his first opportunity to come up on the front row and start. But right now he's having some difficulty getting to the front row, and I don't know what it is, John Walters, but the Appian is just not running real strong.
No, they sure aren't. It sounds like from here that there's some compressor stalls occasionally, and I can't tell if it's coming from them or not. But my guess would be that it is.
He passed a while ago and by himself, and that's what we heard as well.
Yeah, they've been having some oiling problems with the #1 seal there that runs some oil through the compressor, and that'll cause those stalls.
Would they then go ahead and start these boats even if the Appian Renegade is trailing that far behind?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we may get a start right now. White flag's out. It looks like the Appian is not going to be able to do the job as the trailer. Let's see if we get the green. Oh, there it is. Green goes up. And Miss Budweiser leads them. And here comes Smokin' Joe's with a blast of speed from the inside lane. Smokin' Joe's coming down into turn #1. The Budweiser lagged back just a little bit. I don't know why. He just didn't seem to have the power. Now the Budweiser's trying to get on it, but he's in traffic, and Smokin' Joe's is going to break loose real clean.
Smokin' Joe's just jumped out in front there. Mark got an incredible start. The Budweiser's obviously got some problems. They're back in about 4th place, Mike, I think, on the inside.
They are indeed.
As they come down the back straightaway, and it appears that the guys are driving away from him. This is one of those breaks Mark needed in the points chase.
He certainly did, and this is not something the Budweiser would have wanted at all under any circumstances, but Mark Tate is your leader. Back in turn #2 now in the first time around. Mark Tate's your leader, and in second place, it is the Miss Rock in third place. The Budweiser's now taken over third, just took it over. As we come to the start-finish line, the Budweiser takes over third, beating the Pizza Time, Miss Exide, to the line at the end of lap #1, and now trying to reel in Mark Evans from the inside lane. Through the corner, it's the Smokin' Joe's, your leader. And Chip Hanauer realizes he's got to catch him, and now he's going around from the inside. He's going to get past the KISW. Here comes the Budweiser on the inside, moving fast.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, Mike. He may have had some problem with his foot sliding off the throttle or something, but he's going wet now as he's going to the outside. Mark's seen that he's got the advantage there and moved over on him. Chip's going to be on the outside this time, the long way around as they go in turn 2.
That move will not help Chip's situation, certainly, but he also has the KISW Miss Rock on his outside, still in the battle out there. Here comes the end of lap #2. And a stalling Appian Renegade in the front straightaway may be a little bit of problem traffic-wise. End of lap #2 at 144 for the 145 for Chip Hanauer, 144 for the camel-powered Smokin' Joe's. So Chip is trying to reel him in. He definitely has a little bit more speed going through the corner. Now executing the turn with traffic, the Appian Renegade on the inside lane is Tom Hindley, and they are able to pass him as the Smokin' Joe's. And Chip on the outside has dropped back just a little bit now in the traffic. I think he has conceded here that he's not going to attempt to try to run down the Smokin' Joe's.
Well, once again here, Mike, it looks like Smokin' Joe's and Mark Tate has got superior boat ride. That thing is just cruising down the straightaways, even with the lumps and bumps here. He's stepping over them great, and the way he gets into the turn is just unbelievable.
And out of it, he's got plenty of acceleration. A jackrabbit right off the corner, and here's the checkered flag. Smokin' Joe's beats the Budweiser in Heat 3A. Miss Budweiser across the line second. Third place, well, who's it going to be? It's going to be the Miss Rock, Mark Evans. The KISW Miss Rock across the line in third. The Appian's still running, but compressor stalling, and a lap down is the Appian. And I'm real disappointed at the finish of the Pizza Time. It looks to me, Rick, like he ran into some kind of problem down there, because I thought he was awfully strong off the line, but here comes the Pizza Time Exide across 4th place.
He had his nose in and into the first corner, and then fell back from there.
Certainly did. And 5th overall coming down to get scored is Ken Muscatel. And Ken Muscatel coming across the computers and applications Epson boat. 4th place overall. The final position will go to the Appian Renegade if he can make 3/4 of a course. And it looks like he can. He's still running, but he's having some mechanical difficulties. But Tom Hindley trying to get some points there for the computer folks at Appian Renegade and for the Team Spokane Unlimited program.
I did not see, Mike, during between heats here that the Budweiser guys were able to change engines. That having to run that extra heat meant one more engine change that they hadn't counted on today, and it could very well be that having to run that extra heat, which they did indeed win twice, hurt some equipment, and maybe they just weren't able to make to the first turn with Mark.
Well, if Chip was angry a little while ago, now he might be just exasperated. He kind of threw his hands up as if to say, I don't know what happened there, as we tromped down on it coming off the start-finish line, heading down through this first straightaway at the start of the race, and he had nothing. I mean, everybody ran away from Chip Hanauer until he could get his foot back into it, coming off of the first turn. Finally, he was able to get something going on the back straight.
He's telling, I don't know what happened. Chip Hanauer is your middle boat down there. Now watch these guys start to run away from him as they come to the start finish line. There he goes in lane number 2. He's dropping back further and further. The inside on the right is the Smokin' Joe's, and there goes the 8 boat and the KISW. Chip is driving. He's got a lane there, but he's got a lot of water flying in front of him, and he slipped to 4th place going into the first corner. He just did not have the beans to make it into the turn with the rest of the fleet. Well, let's go down to Tony Ventrella. Tony?
So Chip, apparently it was, we'll get to Chip in a second. We got a little traffic here, Bernie walking by. Chip, apparently it was not a mechanical problem. You just didn't realize it was a start?
No, we had a radio problem and visibility, I couldn't see the flag, so I thought he was saying no start, start. So I was stopped at the line and they went by, so it gives me optimism that we, could catch them, giving them that much of a head start.
Yeah, good. That's one way to look at it. I guess you got to look at the bright side of just about everything today.
Yeah, it's been a tough day, but, part of the deal.
Yes, it is. All right, thanks, Chip, again. Back up to you guys. Apparently not a mechanical problem, and that's the good news. Ron Callan, over to you.
All right, a very, very happy crowd just cheered for Mark Tate and owner Steve Woomer, and we're going to get Mark as soon as he takes off his helmet here. Obviously, let's talk to Steve real quick while he's doing it. You got to be happy about that.
Oh yeah, Smokin' Joe really came through there. We got 100 of the points back and showed him some acceleration there. Great.
All right, the crew back there said they wanted to thank you for the hats, by the way. And Mark, let's talk about this from start to finish. This was your baby all the way.
Well, you never know it's your all baby out there. That's why they call it a race. A lot of things can happen, but we're real happy right now with the Camel Power Smokin' Joe boat. We made some changes in the hull there from earlier heats, and the boat definitely seemed to handle and perform better. And we're in the final, and we'll just see what happens there.
We're watching you go around the north turn now. What are the conditions out there?
Well, the conditions are still pretty sloppy, and when you get boats out there and you get them that far spread out, water conditions never really lay down because you're running up on the other guy's wakes. But again, I had a great boat under me, and credit goes to the crew making some changes from the earlier heats today.
And you pick up 100 points on the Budweiser.
Well, I think we lost 100 points or some points earlier when we placed a 3rd there. So yeah, we gained back 100 of the points that we lost, and it keeps us in the championship hunt. And then that's a main goal and our focus.
See you in the final.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Bill Rocky.
Yeah, we're getting a little heat wave here, Mark. Somebody's firing up an engine here. It's kind of warm.
Well, I've heard these things called hair dryers and everything else, but it's a clothes dryer today. We need it.
What was it like out there? Chip was out there, Mark was out there. That was a tough heat.
It really was. I'm really surprised that Nate Brown and their boat didn't stay up there as much as they had in the past, because they're really strong today. So we're really happy to get 3rd place. We didn't really expect it right off because of the tough competition, but happy to get it.
Is it getting worse?
Actually, visibility. It's like the fog. You have a hard time seeing clear down the race course. So whoever's out front, we're tracking off him. I hope he can see where he's going.
Mark Evans, thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you.
Mark, a happy guy, and well, he should be. He survived this ride anyway. In 3rd place, here you go. The unofficial results of Heat 3A. Smokin' Joe's with, winning 400 points. We will expect to see the official results come in a couple of minutes. Budweiser, as you heard Chip say, I didn't see the start. I thought it was a no start. He pulled his foot off the accelerator and everybody ran away from him. KISW Miss Rock in 3rd, Pizza Time X-Side 4th, Computers Applications 5th, and yes, Appy and Renegade unofficially did in fact get across the start-finish line to complete the race. Any surprises there, gentlemen? Mike?
No, I didn't really see any surprises there. I'm surprised, of course, that Chip wasn't there in the first corner, but I can certainly understand why that was the case. And that's part of the problem with the flag starts, is the guy on the inside has a difficulty being able to see the flag, which of course is displayed from the outside. Texaco Cup Heat 3A was brought to you by Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. Drivers wanted. And Tony Ventrella has Nate Brown. Let's find out why he didn't run as strong.
Well, hey, that was my first question. Here a guy walks in, it's soaking wet out here, and I say, what the heck happened? And he smacks me one, and that's the end of it. What did happen out there?
Basically, they had kind of a jump at the start on me, so that was part of it. But it was rough. It was hard to see out there, and I was kind of tunnel vision a couple times and through rollers and boat racing. That's all it takes, you know. So it was just a wet, sloppy mess out there. I couldn't see anything. I had to follow the rooster tails in front of me.
Yeah, that's a bad sign.
I was following the rooster tails in front of me. I had no choice. I couldn't, you know, do anything else. But we're hopefully safe. You're shivering.
No, that's
no.
The dock is shaking.
On the camera, you can't tell. He's got knobby knees, and he's shaking like a leaf down here, guys. He's going, holding the mic like this. What's wrong? Are you cold or something, or what?
You know, I'm just starting to have a good time.
Okay. Well, Tony, thanks for coming down to this dock. We sure appreciate having you, and Channel 7 to cover this event. It's great.
That's so nice. And you've done such great commercial work all day for us. This has been outstanding. Thank you, Nate.
For also this company here, see that one there?
There you go.
That's a good one. And for this company here, and there's one more that's really good, great company.
Oh, yeah.
They're friends of mine. This one here. They're great guys.
All right. What is that? I didn't see that. What was that one?
Kumadani.
Oh, sure. I remember.
Carpet place over in Fallsville. Good guy.
Very good. A carpet place over in Fallsville. Hey, anytime you need carpet. Thanks, Nate. We're going to Bill Rocky, I believe, now.
No, well, actually, we're going to go to the presentation stand first, Tony.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got the award for Heat 3A.
Mark, congratulations for the second year in a row on behalf of Johnson & Johnson. On behalf of Johnson & Johnson family of companies for the second year in a row, congratulations as winner of Heat 3A.
Well, thank you. I probably accept this for the Camo Power Smokin' Joe team, and you know, it was a great win for us, and we're looking forward to the final. And I want to thank you for your support with Seafair over the years, and it's just a great tribute to all. Great products, Tylenol, Melanta. I would advise everyone to try and utilize them. Thank you.
We'll see you in the winner's seat.
I hope so.
All right, well, everybody's getting their plug in while we have a chance here. I tell you, if they have some sort of heat balm that I can rub all over my body to warm up, I'd be beholden. Oh, it's just a lovely day out here on the lake. From where we're seated again at the top of the tower above the Stan Sayers pits now, we can't see anything toward Mercer Island. We barely see the log boom out there. The boat's on the log boom. All right, here we go. Another presentation down at the presentation stand in the pits. Go ahead, folks.
Good afternoon. I'm Emily. I'm with Anheuser-Busch. I'd like to present Lori Davidson with the Volunteer of the Year Award. And we're glad to be a proud sponsor once again of the Texaco Cup at Seafair. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Lori.
Thank you. I need this.
Is Lori going to say a word or two? Lori? Yeah, she doesn't know. No. Okay. Lori's decided that let's get in out of the rain. Well, she's a volunteer. If she was getting paid for this, then yes, she would get up and say a few words. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back and tell you more about Heat 3B. That's coming your way in just a couple minutes. Do stay with us.
Spectators were enjoying the sunshine and the races from a lakeside home near the Lake Washington floating bridge. The boats in Heat 2 rounded the north turn, heading for the start. That is, except for Wild Bill Cantrell, whose Gale 4 had steering problems and wound up beached in a rose garden. A stunned Cantrell gets out of the pedal-covered hull as party-goers rush to examine a race boat closer than they ever expected. Meanwhile, racing continues in the background. And later, a barge-mounted crane moves in to hoist the Gale 4 out of the Rose Garden and back to the Mount Baker pits. This little bit of hydroplane racing lore was brought to you by the Hydroplane and Race Boat Museum, inviting you to explore membership right away.
The Seafair race course, the Ted Jones race course, the 2-miler, with the terribly gray conditions. A downpour starting right now on lane number 1, and here in Heat 3B we'll have Dave Vilwalk in Freddie Leland's Pico American Dream. He's got a second, actually 2 seconds in 1B and 2A going for him. He needs to score some points here to get a good choice in the final heat, and that's exactly what you can expect that he's intending to do. To his outside, Mike Hansen also needs some points. Got a 4th in Heat 1B and got a 3rd in 2B. And the DeWalt Tools needs some points this time. Mike is going to slam the throttle down. He must in order to get a good choice in the final heat. He's got some points going for him, but he needs to do better than that. and not so good for the T+. This is a must-win situation for them to make the front row in the final. Stephen David in Jim Harvey's T+ engine treatment had a 3rd and a 6th, so they are really well scored this time, and they're going to have to run very, very hard. I'm sure they put their final heat package in this time to run. The Cascade Homes has had an interesting day, kind of a bump and grind day for Jones and Jerry Hopp. Jerry's still in the race boat. He replaced Jones, who drove only 1 heat today, and Mike and Laurie are on the beach watching. Jerry Hopp has a 6th, or actually Mike Jones in 1A got the 6th, and Jerry a 4th in Heat 2B. He needs some points also, but he's looking pretty good at this point. On the outside, we're going to be looking at Mitch Evans driving Ed Cooper's Mill Bay Casino. Mitch out of Chelan, Washington, of course. Last year worrying about forest fires. This year worrying about floods. Anyway, he had a 5th and a 5th in 2A and 1A respectively, and so he needs to do well in order to make it. Otherwise, he's going to be out if we don't do a provisional heat. That'll take him out. We'll have a frontline start only for the final. Scott Pierce will be your outside boat pacing in Ron Jones Jr.'s U50, the KMPS Chaplin's Bellevue Volkswagen, and he has a 6th and a 5th, so not high up in points either. He must score well here, otherwise he's going to watch the final on the beach. They're trying to bunch up and get ready to go down in that south turn. Wind has shifted yet again. As you can see the flag on the boat directly out in front of us. It is blowing, showing the wind direction south-southeast at this time, and that means the guys are going to be pointing right into it as they go into the entrance pin of turn number 1. Up the back chute, the DeWalt Tools is leading them up there to get started. They're pretty well spread out right now. Again, we're inside the yellow flag, and so we aren't going to get a start when they come down this time at all anyhow. But it'd be a good idea if Mr. Hansen waited for the other fellows to catch up.
This wind's got to be especially hard on the T+ and Picos because they've got to run fast and they've got to get down to that turn in a hurry, and it's going to be right there to greet them.
Yeah, I think so. And John, I think that's a dangerous condition going into turn 1 because the wind is getting rougher down there now.
Yeah, it really is. Turn 1 here is always where the action is, both with the wind and with the rollers, and of course all the boats trying to get in and out of that first turn on a nice clean line to where they can accelerate down the back straightaway and hopefully drive away from everyone. As you mentioned, Steve David's in a position where I think he has to win in order to make the final. Dave Bilwalk naturally would like to win in order to give him a good heat selection and everything for the number of points going into the final, give him an opportunity to repeat as a winner here.
And that's what they came here to do, and you know that they're going to start risking everything they have here pretty soon to get to that position. So getting a high score here and winning this heat is definitely agenda item number 1 for the guys of the Pico American Dream, but it's also the top matter on the agenda for the T+, because without doing that, they may be watching the final heat here in their hometown from the beach, and I'm sure that's not what they had come here to do.
Yeah, as the commissioner, Bill Donor, told us, there may not be a provisional, so there may not be a last chance heat. This may be it right here.
That's right, and if that is the case, this could be the last opportunity anybody has to get into the final. So they're going to be kind of charging hard, I think, here, because they know that they're not going to get another opportunity to come in the back door, so to speak, as the trailer boat, even though that would mean that they wouldn't have much of a chance to win the final heat. At least they'd get there, and this is about the only route they're going to use this time. White flag is up. They're coming off the upper turn in a little bit less than a perfect form. We'll see what they do. This might be that they let them go. They will.
They are racing.
And the green flag comes up, and from the inside, the Pico has a good bead on the first turn.
They're very tight in there.
They're all down real close as they get down here. It looks like the Pico's in the lead position here. The T+ got kind of a bad start. They drove away from Steven a little bit as they got down here. Pico's off the exit pin first, hitting some really rough stuff down there as he's got the boat pinned down hard. Guys are coming up on the outside, DeWalt's on the inside, and the T+ breaks out in front as they head down towards you, Mike.
Yes, they do. The T+ had to do that, and they have broken out. They put their final heat composition in this boat. This time they're going for broke, because if they can't win here, that's just about the end of their day. And right now, the T+ engine treatment with Stephen David driving. Oh, and he take a fly through the upper corner there, hitting some real terrible slop. And the Pico on the inside has been able to capitalize that and has taken over the lead from Stephen David. The Pico American Dream now coming across the line as your leader, second place, and just a few boat lengths back, it is the T+, and they are in a real charge.
Mike, I think the wing's about to fall off the T+. When they get down in here to the corner, I can see the thing's rattling around pretty bad, things streaming off of it. I don't know if that happened in the upper turn up there when they took that bad bounce, but they're in tough shape down here.
That's going to make the aerodynamics of that boat real nasty through the lower corner down there, but Stephen David is still keeping his foot in it in any event. Going to try to work the Pico if at all possible. Meanwhile, a great battle.
Scott Pierce running head-to-head. Right back there with the DeWalt tool boat.
That's the best we've seen Scott run all day. They've got the boat tamed down, and he's got some acceleration to boot, and he is pulling away now into third position from the DeWalt tools with Michael Hansen. Up in the upper corner, the Pico American Dream is coming around for the end of lap number 2, and we'll get the white flag. One more to go for the Pico, and if she can keep the boat rolling, if Dave Villwock can, that's exactly what he needed to accomplish to get a good lane choice going for the final. The T Plus, even though the tail feathers are about to rattle off the race boat, still they're holding up, and still Stephen David is keeping his foot in it and is a game driver, despite the fact he's about to lose some parts and pieces. Now the DeWalt has taken over from Scott Pearson. Scott is trying now to work the DeWalt from the outside as they go down into the lower corner for the third time around, and on the outside it is the Bellevue Volkswagen, Chaplin's Bellevue Volkswagen, and on the inside the DeWalt tools, and they've got a good battle going. The tussle though is there because it looks as though the Pico has been able to outrun the T Plus with aerodynamic deficiencies, a result of their fairings coming apart and their wing looking as though it's about to fall off the back of the boat, isn't going to be able to make up the distance now, and the checkered flag goes out for the Pico American Dream, defending champion here in the Texaco Cup, and working up the point ladder also. Dave Villwock gets scored first. Second place, it'll be the T Plus engine treatment, and he heads right back to the pits.
Yeah, the wing's gone now.
Yeah, the wing is gone now.
Just lost it up here in the north turn.
Now you see just the fairings hanging and the struts hanging as he lips home. Third place goes to the DeWalt tools, and fourth place will go, and this is a nice run also, I might add, for the Compass Presents Chaplin's Bellevue Volkswagen. That's the best she's looked all day. And coming out of the upper corner now, in still a bit of a battle, and it looks as though the turbine this time will beat the piston boat. It wasn't that way earlier today, but the Cascade Homes comes home first with the strobe light blinking, and following that it is the Mill Bay Casinos as they come home, finishing up 5th and 6th respectively. So they managed to get Heat 3B in, and we now have a completed race if the officials decide there shall be no final or they cannot run a final, but it looks like they're headed toward a final now. I think the provisional will not take place. Here's your winner, Pico American Dream. And this was a very important win for them because that moves them now up the ladder as far as points are concerned, and will get them at least a 1, 2, or 3 lane selection in the final heat. And they're going to have to put that gargantuan turbine back in there and hope that they can draw everybody down into the first corner in the final and get the job done. Pico American Dream unofficially your winner. T Plus engine treatment with parts flying was second. The DeWalt Tools third. The Compass Chaplin's Bellevue Volkswagen fourth. The Cascade Homes fifth. Mill Bay Casino bringing up the rear in 6th place.
Now we have a little fire burning.
That's a stack fire. Doesn't look like it's too serious. He's just trying to restart there. That's in the piston engine. It's leaping out the exhaust port from the wastegate there. So just a little unburnt fuel. And all the way home now comes the Pico American Dream. Dave Villwock opens the lid. Got it done just the way they wanted to. Pinning a lot of hopes on this particular race boat, but she's due. This race boat has not been a winner this year, but she's due. Heat 3B was brought to you by Honda. The best values of the year are available right now at your Honda dealer. Timing is everything at your Honda dealer. Now Dave Villwock will probably step out somewhat gingerly, knowing full well he has slippery conditions up there. He learned there's the T Plus wing. They can actually recover that. That's not always the case, but this one looks like it's intact and floating, so they're going to be able to recover that. Jim Harvey will not have to go out and spend money for an extra part. I'm sure that will please him, but what does not please him is the condition of the back end of his boat right now. As you see, the fairings are upright, so tail fins, if you will, leaning over on one another, and the struts were flying in the wind. Okay, down to Round Callan now.
We're down here near the Smoke and Joe's waiting for the Cascade Homes to come in. The conditions down here are becoming, well, almost unbearable for some of the people. Shivering, the people just aren't dressed for it. And while the weather's bad here, let's go over to Bill Rocky. Bill?
Dave Villwock, I guess the wait was worth it. You got a win out of it.
Yeah, we got a win, but boy, that was one of the toughest wins ever. I couldn't see anything in front of me. All I could do is see both sponson tips, but all the stuff in front of me was all fogged out. So I was driving by the buoy line looking on the inside of the course, really. It's really bad right now.
The wind's shifting too. That makes it even more tough, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a little lumpy. It was real lumpy, but the visibility is, I hope they don't run the final or run it tomorrow or something, because with, 3 fast boats going out there together, it's going to be a real problem.
Here's a little look at the heat here. What do you see down here? You're in the front there.
Yeah, I was just sort of following along. You can see I was sort of following my braille on the inside, finding the buoys as I was going. I was really off the gas, just trying to make sure I stayed close to the buoy line. So, tough situation. Sorry for Seattle. It's weather turned out the way it has right now, but we got a win for the Pico boat, and that's good.
Okay, Dave Billwalk, defending champ, and we'll see what happens with this weather and the rest of the race.
Rocky, thank you. I think it's interesting to note that now one driver has come out and said, I hope we don't run a final. Normally you hear drivers saying, yeah, let's get this in, especially, I'm sure the Smokin' Joe's folks would like to have a shot at a final here. I'm sure if Bernie Little had his druthers, he'd say, hey, let's not run a final. Let's pack it all up and go home. Mike, what do you think is going to happen here?
I think they'll run a final this afternoon. I do. The wind is getting bad, and I think they're going to accelerate the entire schedule to get it done, but I do think they'll run a final. We've run on rougher water conditions than this. The water conditions themselves are not ideal, but they are not disastrous. It is the visibility situation, which is no worse than the last couple of heats, so I don't see any reason why they wouldn't run a final if things stay reasonably stable at this point.
All right, there you have it, Heat 3B now. So we are officially a race day if, in fact, it happens that they decide to call the championship race. And as you've heard Bill Donor say, there probably won't be any sort of provisional. Just go to the finals. Let's go back down to the pits and Tony Ventrella.
Thanks, guys. With Steve David, a little bit of damage there. You got a wrench? We're going to need to work on this.
Yeah, looks like that big sturgeon they caught must have had a relative and bit my wing off.
But I'm sure you could feel it when it happened.
I could, yeah. We were running for first, and they rated me that was coming loose. They said just run a safe second, that'll get us into the final. But I think we're in pretty good shape for the final. Visibility is going to be a little tough for all of us. I'm sure hoping this blows through before that happens.
Now, visibility, I heard one of the other drivers say that maybe he's not too sure we ought to run a final today. What's your opinion?
Well, I think that person's right. You cannot see, when you come out of the exit pin, you cannot see the next entry pin. And there's a grave danger there because you got 6 boats wide, and who knows where the race course is.
Yeah. One more thing, Steve. We do have a shot, and I guess we're going to run it now. When you sustain that damage, just describe what was happening through that shot out there in the rough water.
Sure. Just we had a couple of bad holes out there, and I was running hard to stay ahead of Billwalk, and it started shaking the stuff loose, and my spotter caught it and just said, back off. But what happens is you hit a hole real hard at 180, 190, and it puts a shock through the boat. Now what it did, it apparently broke a strut first, and when the strut goes, the rest of the supports go. But we've got lots of struts and lots of uprights, and thankfully we got Outbacks and Owls and DuPont extra stickers, so we'll be ready for that final heat.
These guys are hustling. Hey, you're earning your pay today. Good job so far, Steve.
Pay? Pay? I hope. Thank you.
All right, take care. All right, guys, still wet down here, by the way, just in case you wondered. Let's take a look at some of the work they're doing on the T Plus right here.
He spun around, Mike, like he might be heading back towards the pits here.
Yeah, if I had to guess,
he's
I'd say
pointed
that's exactly
northbound at this point. He's trying to get off the track is what he's doing. Now, these boats are run on a 1 2/3 mile course, so they're going to turn shy of the north turn for the Unlimiteds. They're cutting, it looks like they're cutting the Unlimited course, and that's exactly what they're doing. That's where their corner will be. And they will bunch right back up again and put it together in the same kind of a starting sequence as the Unlimiteds do. Joe Souza now has turned his boat back toward the pit area.
Now he's turned it back towards the race course, so I'm not sure we know exactly what he's doing here.
He's had some real troubles here at Lake Washington in the 106 boat.
It appears as if he knows he's got some engine problems. He's trying to sort it out close to the beach here so that if he's not able to, he's not going to interfere with the start of the race, which is good thinking on his part.
Well, if the white flag goes up, then he'll be disqualified anyway. There's Marty Schäufele looking around in the 34 boat, checking his competition as he goes through the lower corner down there, looking at the other guys. Lots of rooster tails down there. There's going to be 7 of them making a start. They're all bunching around it now, and they'll come up this back straightaway. They have the same problem the Unlimiteds do. They leave their slop down there just as much as the Unlimiteds do, and the wind is going to cause them some problems as they point in. The Flying Hawaiian leads them up. Ryan Reynolds will have the inside lane advantage. The Red Dog looks like it'll be in the 2 lane. Pay and Play in the 3 lane. I'll check that. It'll be the other way around. The Pay and Play in the 2 lane and the Red Dog in the 3 lane. Hey Baby will be outside the Pay and Play. The Assassin will be outside the Hey Baby. Unfortunately, do not see Greg Hopp out here. He had some problems with his Graham trucking boat. Wasn't able to make this final field. As they come around the corner, we're waiting on the Performance Mortgage to catch up. Paul Droulard's boat is drawing back, and Labree's boat is racing the 45 boat as the Miss Graham trucking, replacing.
They'll bring them around one
Greg
more
Hopp's
time.
boat. Yeah, one more time around.
Trying to get them seized up a little bit better there. They're a little spread apart.
Still waiting for Paul Droulard to catch up to him. In the Performance Mortgage, the red, white, and black number 3 boat, he's finally caught up to the pack. There is the Graham trucking now.
Oh,
he had a bumping incident. The
Flying
Graham
Hawaiian
trucking just hit the Flying Hawaiian down there. Howie Labrie just whacked Brian Reynolds' boat, and there is damage. Lost control of his boat for a moment there. Looks like he just climbed into. I'm not sure if one was coming out or one was coming in from that angle, but I am sure of this. There was an impact. The Flying Hawaiian is still running, however. Brian Reynolds had to have felt that. It's on his outside right rear. He had to have felt it.
He's got to have some broken wood there somewhere.
Left rear, I should say. Left rear of the boat. And there we saw some stuff sticking up, so there's definitely some damage there. That may affect his ability to race this time. He was otherwise untouched, had a perfect race going here in Seattle. Hadn't been defeated in any heat, and that does not to say that he's going to be defeated here. He may be able to race with it that way. He's at least looked back over the shoulder. He knows he's got tagged. I don't know whether there'll be a violation on the part of Howie Labrie called by the officials for a lane violation in the score-up, or what exactly will be the case, but they're not going to leave that go.
They may have lost track of where they were on the race course also.
A lot of buoys out there to see, and some of them are not the ones they're supposed to be going around, and that sometimes does cause some confusion. Well, they come around this time. Performance Mortgage now is in the inside slot. We seem to have 2 tiers starting here. We have the Performance Mortgage, we have the Flying Hawaiian. Pay and Play is lagging back along with, now they're going to go around again.
Yeah, they seem to be more
with the Red Dog there.
Big
kind
hole.
of a mess now.
Big hole right behind the sponson in the Flying Hawaiian.
Pay and Play looks like it's leaving.
We have a green flag.
Now where did the green flag come from? They went right on by. Now all of a sudden we have a green flag and supposedly they're racing. Pay and Play has left the race course. Through the lower corner it is the Flying Hawaiian, and we're talking about flying. Heck, he's already hit Oahu, and the rest of the guys are just getting through the corner. Down the back chute, the already damaged Flying Hawaiian has the lead. We did get a green flag. Dave Bender and the Pay and Play pulled off the race course right at the start. All the boats crossed the start line with a white flag showing, and it was quite a long time after they got across the start line that the green came up.
They were a full buoy down the course. I don't know how they know they have a green flag.
And they did have flags come out in the first turn down here, and the judges in the turns were the ones that put the flags out.
And that's when they actually throttled up. We'll take a look at the outside of this race boat, and you're going to see some damage to the back end of it. There it is, right behind the sponson. As Rick pointed out, you see plenty of wood in that race boat.
And this high pressure's not helping it at all either, I'll tell you.
All ground up, end of lap number 1 for the Flying Hawaiian, the second place boat. Well, now who is it? The second place boat might be the Performance Mortgage, but the Red Dog has realized that we're in racing conditions, and he has now overtaken Paul Droulard. This boat has. The Red Dog being driven by Bob Larimore. Now he has realized that he is in the race now. And now look at here, Droulard is trying to draw up on him right now too. So they've got a little bit of a battle going. Your leader, though, is Brian Reynolds well out front. That's the Rooster Tail on the left. The other guys are chasing him. The real race, though, is between Paul Droulard in the Performance Mortgage, and on the outside, the Red Dog, driven by Bob Larimore, who now shows some acceleration up the back chute and starts to draw away in second place. Nowhere near catching the Flying Hawaiian, however, even though the pieces are flying off the Hawaiian.
Brian's got a pretty good lead here. He's really in the command as he can pick and choose the lane as he wants and pick and choose the smooth water. The visibility is good enough now that he should be able to see from one end of the course to the other, and he's going to push these guys around a little bit and stretch out the lead.
He's got a nice, careful lead, and he's going to stretch it out all right. Flying Hawaiian at the end of lap number 2. Here comes the Red Dog finishing second at the end of lap number 2, the Red Dog Beer. Third place is going to be the Performance Mortgage, Paul Droulard. Joe Tate in fourth place in Miss Leroy, and trailing up the back chute, still half a course length away from the other runners. It is the Assassin with Marty Schäufele through the lower corner now for the last time. The Flying Hawaiian. Now, it appears as though Bob Larimore has drawn him up a little bit. The Flying Hawaiian is not running real quick now, and Larimore has begun to take a bead on him. I don't know if down this back chute he's going to be able to do it. The Flying Hawaiian is your leader. Larimore has gone to the inside to try to catch him. He's coming on strong up the back chute. Halfway up the chute, he's still reeling him in.
The Hawaiian gets into this corner. If he's got any water on board, that's going to throw that thing sideways in the corner too and slow him down quite a bit.
It looks like Bob Larimore might pull this off. He's running awfully strong on the inside. He's drawn side by side with the Flying Hawaiian, which is wounded. He's got some speed off the corner. Let's see if the Flying Hawaiian can hold him off.
It's a drag race.
It is a drag race, and it looks like the Flying Hawaiian will win, but only by a nose. Flying Hawaiian out front gets the checkered flag. Second place, the Red Dog. Third place, Joe Tate.
They may have had an awkward start, but what a finish.
Well, and I think it's only fitting, guys, with the kinds of controversy in the day that we've had here today, that nobody knows the race starts until the boats are 2/3 of the way down the front straightaway here, when finally somebody sees that a green flag is going up. My guess is, if I have to guess, as we heard from Bill Donor, there's so many problems weather-related to the radio communications that somehow they didn't get word to the boat to put the green flag up.
Now there's your winner, the Flying Hawaiian. A live shot of the winning boat going down the back chute. There's a lucky number for you, GNH 11. This shot is brought to you by the Washington State Lottery. Hey, do you feel lucky? And I got to tell you, that is some luck, because when you start bruising up your boat like that and then you get a drag race for the final, you've really got to be able to call on something, and I didn't think he had it, because it appeared as though Bob Larimore was drawing a bead on him and really was coming on strong.
That was a good boat race all the way around. He's most of that damage looks like it's above the water line, but he's peeled off an awful lot of skin back there.
He's going to have to ask Nate to accelerate that new boat delivery here pretty soon.
Yes,
there. He's got a bruised up boat. He's got deck missing all the way back. Got a good 5 or 6 feet of deck gone from that boat and side from that boat gone. And that's the side he turned on, so he had to take a lot of water inside as he went up over the corner. Let's take a look at the accident again. This happened during the score-up. And you see the Graham Trucking. And look there, boom. Wow. Right in there, tucked a sponson into a non-trip area, and the pieces fly. Now, I'm not sure exactly whether it was a bearing in or bearing out situation, but my guess is that the Graham Trucking is the culprit here. I'm not sure of that, and we have not heard officially about that yet. Brian did get the checkered flag after 3, which is an indication that he was legal. So let's take a look at it from a slightly different angle now. This is again during the score-up. There's Bob Larimore, and as you look to his inside, you see Howie Labrie. He's trying to come down and make a turn. Oh, he just pasted. Yeah, he came over and just pasted the
It looked like he lost complete, he had no idea on the race course where he was. He was bearing in to make a turn, and I think everybody else was still proceeding straight.
Okay, let's go down to the pits. Ron Callan's got the winner.
Well, I'll tell you what, the first thing that Brian Reynolds did is step out of the boat and take a look at that pretty serious damage to the right side of this unit. I'm not going to try to get him over here. Brian, come on over. Anyway, the bottom line is that he held on to win this what turned out to be a good boat race in what's really now a downpour here on the shores of Lake Washington. And one thing when you're in a low-budget performance light situation, you got to help out the crew and take care of some of the situation yourself. So that's what Brian Reynolds is doing right now, and he's helping out. It's a beautiful boat, but he's going to have a lot of work to do to get it back in shape after what happened. But congratulations for everybody. Let me see if I can sneak over here. Brian, we got you live here on Kiro TV. Talk about what happened before the race first. Obviously, you're pretty happy with the final result.
Yeah, we were coming down for the start, and Howie there, I think he was in lane 5. Came shooting across the race course, and I saw him coming. I tried to accelerate past him, but I didn't quite get past him far enough. As you can see by the boat, his front, his left sponson hit the back left, right side of our boat there. But after that, it was pretty uneventful after that. Of course, the rough water being the way it is, I just wanted to get back into the dock.
What's it like driving one of these? You don't really have the enclosed cockpit. You're just sitting out there with that water hitting your helmet, I guess.
It was a lot better for me because I could see where I was going, where these guys had, rain on their glass all the time, so they were having a hard time seeing where they were going, but I didn't have any trouble at all. So I wanted to thank our sponsor, Performance Corner, and Steve Woomer for helping us get here today, and we're going to go get dry.
All right, congratulations. All right, Brian Reynolds, the big winner down here in the hydroplane lights.
There are your unofficial results. Brian Reynolds still is undefeated, the Flying Hawaiian. Red Dog Beer with Bob Larimore second. Joe Tate was third. Performance